Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan from laserprints.co.uk. Today we're going to go through some details of Refined Colours ZZ1C flatbed printer, also known as the RF-ZZ1C. So stay tuned. Hi guys, so if you've stuck around, this is the ZZ1C UV flatbed printer from Refined Colour based in China. The printing modes of this machine: flat materials, round materials. There is a rotary style attachment that you fit to the bed, so then you can print onto cylindrical items. UV printers, great for printing on acrylics, metals, woods, vinyls, anything really that you would like to print on as a substrate. UV printer is really good for that because the UV cures the ink, of which then it's very durable. There's two different styles of ink. You get soft ink or a hard ink. I currently run the hard ink because I'm not using flexible materials. I'm printing onto hard substrates, but we'll go deeper into the different inks you can get for machines. This machine itself, it's an old workhorse, you know, it does a lot of work. It's had some upgrades from myself. Now, this machine, straight from the factory, the ink system is a 5-colour setup, CMKY, plus white for a single head machine. Now, you can see on my head, my print head, I've got 4 dampeners, of which they split to a straight pipe, and I have 1 tank of ink. Now I'll go further into detail. Basically, I only print black with this machine. I can reconfigure it to print colour. From the factory, what you would normally get is your 4 colours, CMKY, whichever orientation, and in a future video I will go through the settings of how to actually select which channel of the print head that you would like to use for which colour. Also, you'll notice on mine that the 2 channels 6 and 5 here, they're actually blanked off with a pipe. As I say, I only print black on this machine. The print bed, now the dimensions are a little bit funny on this machine. They're actually 33 centimetres by 60 centimetres, 330 millimetres by 600 millimetres. Straight from the factory, it doesn't actually print the full width of the bed. There's some parameters that you can go into to get the full width of the bed, or to get extra. I'll show that in a future video also. But what you'll notice on my bed is that I've actually stuck down a dimension. It is a cutting mat. I believe you can get these from Hobbycraft in the UK, or over in the States. I believe different craft shops will do cutting mats like these. And what I've done, I've configured the bed so I can use absolute coordinates, and my datum 00 point is in this top left corner, as it would be from the machine, because you always look or print from the machine from as if it was printing downstream. So it'd be the top left-hand corner, of which then that corresponds to the dimensions within the computer. So I know if I put a square at, let's say for instance, 100 mil Y to 100 mil X, X, I know for a fact that I'm going to print in that square. So what else about this machine? Well, its print head is an Epson XP600, of which this is the print head down here. Sorry, let's just get a better picture. There we go. So that's the XP600 print heads. Now, I do actually sell the print heads for these machines. So if you'd like to go onto my stores, rather eBay or Etsy, I do actually sell the parts for these machines. Slowly but surely, I'm building laserprints.co.uk to be a video portfolio of information to do with these machines, how to repair them, how to fix them, and how to modify them if you want to, like I've done myself for my business. But more on that in a different video. So the Epson XP600 print head, it's a 6-channel print head, of which you're able to get the 4 colours and the 2 whites. Now, 2 whites are okay. They do give a good base of white if you're doing, you know, a full print. It's quite difficult with 2 channels of white. The bigger machines that we'll go into on a later video, they actually have a single print head for white like only. So you can get a lot of white ink down. The single head machines only have 2 channels of white, no gloss, or you could reconfigure it to have 1 channel of white and 1 channel of gloss. But I wouldn't advise that. I mean, this machine, as I say, I only print black on this machine. I don't print white. So the maximum size of the bed, as I say, 33 by 60 centimetres, around 13 by 24 inches for this bed for the viewers over in the States. The printing resolution for this machine, or this print head, the XP600, the maximum resolution that you're expected to get out of that print head is around 2,880 dpi, dots per inch. The print speed, about 70 to 90 seconds per A4 on the draft. So higher quality, slower speed. We can, in a later video, I'll take you through the computer to have a look at all the settings and all the speeds of this machine. So what else with this machine? The dimensions packaged from the supplier, you're probably talking around 77 by 72 centimetres with 60 centimetres worth of height. So it's a quite large machine for a hobbyist or business. You'll notice that all the covers are off my machine. It's just easier for me to work with something that I can get my hands to if there's ever an issue. I'm that way inclined. I'm always tinkering with them. I'm always upgrading them. I'm always making changes to them. So what else with this machine? The voltage, well, the transformer packs in these machines, you can actually configure them to the UK, which 240 normal house volts, house AC, or you can actually convert it to 110 for the States. So these machines will run quite happily on either voltage. The operating temperature, what works best for UV printers, around 10 to 35 degrees Celsius. I'm sorry, I don't know the conversion in Fahrenheit. The UV lamp system. Now, on the newer machines, I say the newer models, Refine Colour have done some awesome work in improving the UV technology by having a air-cooled UV lamp. Now, my UV lamp is a water-cooled UV lamp, so I have water pipes that come round the UV printer, that go to a cooling station that is in this side. There's a fan, a radiator, and that keeps the UV lamp from burning out and getting too hot. These UV lamps that are water cooled, there is a nice little protection device in there that if the UV lamp does go over temperature, then it'll turn off the UV lamp so it doesn't cause further damage. It's actually a thermal cutout for the lamp. Now, there may be an instance where your machine, especially if you have a water-cooled machine, where you're printing a large document and your water cooling isn't working correctly. Now, what will happen is that your UV lamp will blink on, off, on, off. Sometimes the space between it being on and being off, the timing is a little extended because it can't cool down as quickly as what you'd like. And what happens with your prints is that you actually get wet UV ink, which doesn't cure. You take the design print off the machine, whatever substrate you've printed to, and what you'll find is that the ink hasn't cured, it's still wet. But again, I'll go into more detail in an upcoming video. This video, again, as I say, is more everything about this machine, if you will. So it's a lot of information within one video, but I will be uploading more videos on a weekly basis to dive deeper into these machines, how to work them, what you can do to save money on repairs. So the noise level of this machine, it's actually not that bad, this machine. The bigger ones, there's a little bit more noise to them. They do have ball bearings on the rails. So there's a rail system which carries the head, and as that's moving across the raster, the X movement, and you can imagine that it's printing left, right, left, right. So there is a little bit of noise to these machines, but not too much. So the automatic cleaning cycle and the moisturizing system of these machines, what you've got is underneath the head, you have a capping station and then a wiper. Again, all of these parts you can actually find on my website, laserprints.co.uk. We're based in the UK, so there's quite fast shipping in the UK. But I want this channel to be more information about the machines than it being for parts. So heads there, ribbons, as I say, my configuration for the ink tubes for the ink, which is just black at the moment. The reason you saw me with this paper clip here, the reason I do that is because when the machine is powered off, it doesn't actually sit all the way to the edge. The spring detaches it. You see that? Of which then doesn't give it a real good seal on the capping station. So what I do, and it's going to be very difficult with one hand, is I actually push the head over and then I crimp the belt together. So I push the belt together like that, and then I put this little paper clip on the belt to hold it together to keep that head to the right hand side, which then keeps the capping station as sealed to that head as possible. Now, I understand on a majority of people who own this machine, all their covers will be on, you might even have a large cover that opens up to, then you can expose all of this mechanics of the machine, so you can then get a paper clip on there. One thing I will note and mention, if you do use anything like that, then always remember to take it off before you turn the power on, because the initialization stage of the motor means that it'll want to move that carriage to the left, and if you've got a paper clip on the belt, you won't be able to move that. So viewer discretion. I take no responsibility if you do use paper clips or anything that you see on my machine and you use that on your own machine. That's your own machine. That's up to you. So yeah, that's just what I use. So again, you've got the raster strip here that runs the entire length of the machine. The print cables, data cables that run around the back, cable track all the way over to the print headboard. This print headboard is the Hosen HEB GLB version 1.41.01. I do have the firmware files for these boards. Also, you've got the main board, which is back here. And as I say, it's just easier to get to these parts with all the covers off, you know. Of which I've kept the covers. They're just not on the machine. The covers are on that machine, a little bit more than what they are on this. So what else with this machine, really? With this machine, there's no white ink stirrer or the continuous white ink flow. Now, they wouldn't be on your machine either, direct from Refine Colour, because they simply, it's only a two channel machine for the white and then the 4 colours. So I think for now that might be enough into this first machine. If you've got any questions, by all means drop them in the comments section below. I'll do my best to answer them. Also, a nice little thing about this this bed that I've found out, you'll probably notice that there's actually some tape here where one tip I found with this machine in this video. I'll say that, you know, the 00 in the top left datum point of the print head, the print bed of where you would be printing. So let's say that you wanted to print onto this paper clip and you positioned it there. I know for a fact, due to the coordinates of where that is, and I can translate that into the computer so that I know it's going to print directly onto that. Now, the reason I have this tape here is because I actually pull my 00 position away and have it set at 100, 100. Now, the reason I actually do that is because if you're printing in this area, this section here, even with the new machines, what you may find is because the wiper blade doesn't retract from the head, if there is a build-up of ink on that wiper blade and it pulls across to the left, you may get speckles of ink in this area. It only happens a couple of times, and maintenance is key with these machines. A clean machine is a happy machine. Yes, mine isn't the cleanest. There's a few, you know, marks and scrapes there, but it's a workhorse, you know, it does a lot of work. The other one that you might notice is these here. So I've actually put a laser homing beam on this machine that is before the head. So if there is any article on this bed as it moves into the machine, if it hits this laser, then the bed will lower. Now, Refine Colour do have their own bed movement sensors, which are actually positioned to the back of here, one here and one here. They're an infrared sensor. They work, but they're not that precise, and you're always having to check the distance between your head and the print media. Optimal distance, you're talking between 1 and 3 mil. 2 mil, 3 mil is, for me, it's too much of a gap. I like to be printing between 0.5 and 1 mil from the head to the bed. That seems to be the sweet spot to get into focus, because the further away from the head that you are, the more chance you've got of overspray, the more chance you've got of nozzles not being in focus for the DPI that you're trying to target. So anyway, this is 20-minute video here, so a lot of information for one video, all about this refined colour ZZ1C UV flatbed printer. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments section below. My name's Ryan from laserprints.co.uk, and I'll catch you on the next video.